Hello friends, welcome to my channel Eccentric Learning. Many videos on various quantitative aptitude topics like percentages, profit and loss, simple interest, compound interest, and many more has already been uploaded. I hope you guys are going through that. If not, some of the videos link has been given in the description box. Please go through that. Also, if you like the content of my videos, then do subscribe my channel and also share with your friends. In today's video, we are going to learn about ratio, proportion, and variation topic, where I will be covering the concept of ratio, proportion, variation. We will be also discussing about the continued proportion, componendo, dividendo, direct and indirect variation, and many more. In the next video, we'll be doing some word problems in ratio, proportion, and variation. So let us start with today's video. Okay, so let us start with the ratio first. So ratio, we can simply say that it is a relation which one quantity bears with another of the same kind. For example, say that person A's age is say 40 years and person's B age is say 20 years. I want to find what is the ratio of their ages. So this ratio can be simply written as A is to B, which is nothing but A by B, which we can write it as 40 by 20, which is 2 by 1. So that means the ratio of A's age to B's age is simply 2 by 1. That is, A's age is double that of B's age. So we can also say that ratio simply expresses the number of times one quantity contains the other. Now, since we are getting these ratios after cancelling the common factors in this 40 and 20, so suppose the ratios of A's and B's age is given to be 2:1. So we can take the actual age of A to be say 2K and actual age of B, we can take it to be K, where K is some common factor that has been removed from the ages of A and B, and K is greater than 0. Okay, so now let us see proportion. So when two ratios are equal, then the four quantities involved in these two ratios are said to be proportional. That is, if A by B is equal to C by D, then A, B, C, D are said to be proportional. Generally, we write it as A colon B double colon C colon D, which indicates that A, B, C, D are proportional. That is, A by B equals to C by D. Also, this A and D are said to be extremes, and this B and C are said to be means. So here we can write it as AD is equals to BC. That is, the product of the extremes is equal to the product of the means. Also, if there are three quantities such that A by B is equals to B by C, then we say that A, B, C are in continued proportion. And we can write it to be B square equal to AC. This B is also called as the mean proportional of A and C. Okay, so now let us see some relationship that we can get from this ratio. So if A by B is equals to C by D, then we can invert this and we can write it as B by A equal to D by C. So this is called as invertendo. Also, I can write it as A by C is equals to B by D, that is called as alternando. Also, if I simply add +1 to this ratio, I'll be getting this relation, that is A plus B upon B equal to C plus D upon D. This is called as componendo. Now, instead of doing this +1, if I do -1 in this ratio, then I'll be getting A minus B upon B equal to C minus D upon D. That is called as dividendo. Now, if I take the ratio of this C and D, I'll be getting it as A plus B upon A minus B equal to C plus D upon C minus D. This is called as componendo and dividendo. This componendo and dividendo is very much helpful in simplifying the problems. The converse of this componendo and dividendo is also true. That is, if A plus B upon A minus B is equal to C plus D upon C minus D, then we can say that A by B is equals to C by D. That is, A, B, C, D are in proportion. Also say if there are some ratios like A by B, C by D, E by F, G by H, and all these ratios are equal, then all these ratios will be equal to A plus C plus E plus G divided by B plus D plus F plus H. That is, the sum of all the numerators upon the sum of all the denominators ratio will also be equal to this ratio. We can verify this with an example. Suppose say 2 by 4, which is 1 by 2, is equal to 3 by 6, which is also 1 by 2, equals to say 5 by 10, which is also 1 by 2. Now the summation of all the numerators would be 2 plus 3 plus 5, and the summation of all the denominators would be 4 plus 6 plus 10. So the sum of the numerator would be 10, and the sum of the denominator would be 20, which is also equal to 1 by 2, just as the same ratio of 2 by 4, 3 by 6, and 5 by 10. So this is also a very important relation which we can remember. Okay, so now let us see variation. Suppose there are two quantities A and B such that the first quantity A changes in value, the other quantity B also changes in value bearing certain relationship to the change in the value of the first quantity, then we say that A varies to B. Now, there are some kinds of variation like direct variation, indirect or inverse variation, and also joint or mixed variation. So let us first see what is direct variation. Suppose there are two quantities A and B such that if A increases by a certain ratio, then B also increases by the same ratio. And if A decreases by a certain ratio, then B also decreases by the same ratio. Then we say that A varies directly to B, and we also write it as A equal to some constant K times of B, or we can say that the ratio of these two quantities is some constant K. Say for example, if daily I consume say 10 liters of milk and 1 liter cost me rupees 10, so 10 liter will cost me rupees 100. So now suppose if I have increased my consumption to say 20 liters, so now this 20 liters will cost me 20 into 10, that is rupees 200. So you can see here, when this quantity is getting doubled, the total amount that is being spent on this quantity is also getting doubled. So this is a case of direct variation. Now suppose if there are two sets of values for these variables A and B such that A1 corresponds to B1 and A2 corresponds to B2, then we can say that A1 by B1 will be equal to A2 by B2, or we can write it as A1 by A2 will be equal to B1 by B2 in case of direct variation. In a similar way, in case of indirect variation, if there are two quantities A and B such that if A is increased in a certain ratio, then B gets decreased in the same ratio and vice versa, then we say that A varies indirectly to B, and we can write it as A equal to some constant upon B, or A into B is that constant. For example, say there are 10 men who can complete a piece of work in say 20 days. Now this 10 men has been increased to say 20 men. So this number of men is being doubled. So the number of days to complete the same piece of work would be reduced to half, that is 10 days. So this is an example of indirect variation. Now suppose say there are two sets of values corresponds to A and B such that A1 corresponds to B1 and A2 corresponds to B2. In that case, we can write it as A1 B1 will be equal to A2 B2, or A1 by A2 will be equal to B2 by B1. In case of joint variation, say there are three quantities A, B, and C such that A varies to B when C is constant and A varies to C when B is constant. So we can say that A varies to B into C, or we can say that A upon BC will be some constant. So again, if we have two sets of values corresponds to A, B, and C, then we can say that A1 upon B1 into C1 will be equal to A2 upon B2 into C2. In a similar way, say A varies to B when C is constant and A varies to 1 by C when B is constant, then we can say that A varies to B by C. So we can say that AC upon B will be some constant. So we can write A1 C1 upon B1 will be equal to A2 C2 upon B2. So these are the concepts of ratio, proportion, and variation which we have seen in today's video. In the next video, we'll be doing some questions based on these concepts. So I hope you have learned something from today's video, but still if you have any confusion, I would request you to watch the video again. But still if you have any questions or queries or any doubts, you can put it in the comment box. I will try to answer each one of your queries. So if you like the content of my videos, then do subscribe my channel and also share with your friends. I'll see you all in my next video. Till then, keep learning, keep sharing, and keep growing. Thank you.